You were not born to wait for approval. You were not designed to pause at every corner of doubt, begging for someone to tell you it's okay to be powerful. The greatest mistake people make is believing they need a green light from the world before they move forward. The truth, you are the green light. Every time you hesitate, you train your mind to seek safety over strength. Every time you look around before you act, you declare that someone else holds the reins to your destiny. And that is the silent death of potential. Leaders don't walk into rooms looking for consensus. They walk in with fire in their chest and decision in their veins. Conviction is the silent language of power. It doesn't scream. It doesn't plead. It just is. When you walk with conviction, people don't question you not because you but perceive you're certain. And in a world addicted to hesitation, certainty is the rarest currency. The world bends for those who refuse to bow. If you keep lowering your eyes, you'll keep lowering your life. Your body speaks before your mouth does. When your shoulders say, I belong here, the world listens. When your posture says, I know who I am, people follow. You've been tricked into believing that playing small is polite. That shrinking is safe. That dimming your light makes you likable. But it doesn't. It makes you invisible. And invisible people don't leave, they vanish. Walk like your name belongs in history books. Move like your footsteps are carving a legacy. The world cannot resist the energy of someone who knows where they're going. You are not asking for a seat at the table, you are the table. You are not here to be invited into power, you are the invitation. Leaders don't tiptoe. They strike. They don't enter with questions. They arrive with direction. Conviction is not arrogance. Conviction is clarity. Arrogance is insecurity in disguise. Conviction is the storm that clears the room of confusion. When you walk in with conviction, people either follow you or they get out of the way. You don't wait to be qualified. You qualify yourself through your movement, through your standard. Through the way you walk before the world even gives you permission. Permission is a myth sold to the masses to keep them tame. You are born to be tame. Every second you spend waiting is a second someone else is owning. Leaders aren't faster because they're better, they're faster because they believe before proof. They move before applause. They act before agreement. They trust their own voice above the noise. When you walk with conviction, doors don't just open, they fall off the hinges. People stop and wonder, who is that? Not because of your resume, but because of your presence. You don't need to be the loudest. You need to be the clearest. Clear intention cuts through chaos. You've seen it. You've felt it. Someone walks into a room and the entire atmosphere shifts. That's not magic. That's self-certainty. That's internal dominance. That's the energy of someone who doesn't need the room. They own it simply by entering. Conviction doesn't need applause. Conviction moves in silence like thunder before the lightning. It prepares, it sharpens, it arrives, and it changes everything. You don't beg for moments. You become the moment. You don't chase validation. You walk like you've already earned it. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough. Stop checking the eyes of strangers for confidence they never earned. You were born with a fire inside you that doesn't ask for directions. It ignites them. You don't need a mentor to breathe for you. You already have lungs. Now fill them with the oxygen of purpose and move. The world follows the one who moves first, not the one who waits, not the one who hesitates, but the one who steps out while others plan. You weren't built to be cautious, you were built to command, to lead without apology, to speak without fear, to rise without approval. Conviction is walking into chaos and making it submit. It's stepping into uncertainty with the calm of a warrior who's already fought the battle in their mind. You do not run from storms, you are the storm. The difference between leaders and the lost is the decision to walk like it's already done. When you walk with conviction, you don't compete. You create. You don't wait for trends. You set them. You don't ask if it's your time. You decide that it is. The moment your feet hit the ground, reality shifts. That's not ego. That's the alignment. That's what happens when the inside world becomes more powerful than the outside one. No one will believe in you until you do. No one will take you seriously until you stop asking to be seen. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. And impact starts with how you enter, with how you hold yourself, with how you walk like the world has already caught up to your vision. Walk like you've already won, because energy doesn't lie. People can sense power before you speak. They can feel it in the way you move through space, in the way you make decisions, in the way you refuse to explain yourself to small minds. You will never be feared, followed, or respected by people who see you hesitate. You want to be treated like a force. Walk like one. You want to own the room. Own yourself. You want to be unstoppable. Then move like your mission is non-negotiable. The mirror doesn't lie, and neither does your walk. If you hesitate, the world hesitates with you. If you delay, the world delays your reward. But if you decide fully, finally ferociously, then the world has no choice but to adjust. Don't walk like a question. Walk like an answer. Don't move like you're trying to fit in. Move like you're carving space. Your shadow should make people stand taller. Your silence should command respect. Your decisions should feel like earthquakes. The weak beg for respect. The powerful radiate it. You don't earn it with time. You declare it through presence. And presence is born from walking with such conviction that even your doubts feel intimidated. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to become unforgettable. And unforgettable people don't walk the same as everyone else. They don't look around for approval. They walk like destiny is waiting for them to show up. So stop hesitating, stop crouching, stop seeking safety. Walk like the world is yours to shape. Walk like your name means something. Walk like your breath is borrowed from greatness. Because it is. Every single day you are training the world. Every word, every move, every choice. You're sending signals that tell people exactly how far they can go with you. You are not just living, you are educating. The question is, what are you teaching? If you tolerate disrespect, you just gave it a seat at your table. If you laugh off being belittled, you just told them it's okay to keep doing it. If you ignore the way someone crosses your boundary, you just redrew the line and put it behind you. And make no mistake, people are watching, testing, learning you. You don't have to say a word to be disrespected. You just have to stay silent when you shouldn't. The silence you allow is the standard you set. People don't mistreat you randomly. They mistreat you strategically based on what you've allowed before. You are the author of your value. If you write it in invisible ink, don't be surprised when no one sees it. If you walk like your worth is negotiable, they will bargain for your dignity like it's on clearance. Your boundaries are not walls, they are definitions. You either define yourself or they define you for you. You can't beg for respect, you command it by becoming unshakable. By being willing to lose people who can't rise to the level of how you treat yourself. When someone mistreats you, they're not exposing themselves, they're revealing what you will continue. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you enforce. This world responds to energy, not intentions. You can have the best heart in the room. But if your energy says, I'll take whatever you give, then that's exactly what you'll receive. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. Every relationship is a mirror. They show you how loud your standards really are. And if you're surrounded by people who drain you, question you, or shrink you, it's your reflection said it was okay. They didn't walk in and steal your worth, you handed it to them, hoping they'd treat it gently. But this world doesn't work on hope. It works on rules. Your non-negotiables. Your expectations that are so clear, so consistent, that people have no choice but to rise or leave. You are not a doormat. You are not a backup plan. You are not an emotional sponge for broken people. You teach people with your time. If you give it too freely, they'll assume it has no value. You teach people with your words. If you sugarcoat truth to avoid tension, they'll learn that lies are more comfortable than growth. You teach people with your reactions. If you stay calm while being disrespected, they'll believe it doesn't matter. You don't fix people who refuse to grow. You don't water dead plants and expect ardent. You don't lower your frequency to maintain a connection that's rooted in dysfunction. If someone has to shrink you to feel big, cut the cord, you're not their life raft. Every yes you say out of guilt becomes a lesson in how to manipulate you. Every time you show up when you don't want to, just to keep the peace, you're teaching them your peace doesn't matter. The longer you train them to ignore your needs, the more invisible you become. Stop asking why people don't respect you and start asking why you're still available for their disrespect. Respect isn't something you earn with time. It's something you model with behavior. You set the temperature. If they can't handle the heat, they were never meant to sit at your fire. You are not for everyone, and that's the point. Leaders don't dilute themselves for approval. They stand unshaken and let the room adjust. People will test you early to see how deep your roots run. Show them you don't bend in storms. Show them your silence isn't weakness, it's warning. Teach with your absence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing and leave. When your presence is tied to your self-respect, you don't stay in places that insult your soul. Walking away isn't quitting. It's choosing yourself over chaos. You don't get to complain about being treated like an option when you never demanded to be the standard. If your energy says, I'll accept less to be liked, then you've already lost. You don't need to be liked. You need to be respected. And the two are not the same. People treat you based on the price tag you put on your soul. If it says clearance, they'll bargain. If it says rare, they'll protect it. You are either a treasure or a transaction. And that decision is made by you, not them. The energy you accept is the culture you create. If someone disrespects your time once and you say nothing, they learn. If someone raises their voice at you and you don't push back, they learn. If someone mocks your dreams and you still call them friend, they learn. You didn't just let it slide. You train them to think it's normal. But the good news is this: the moment you shift, the world shifts. The moment you say, that's not okay with me, everything recalibrates. Yes, some people will leave. Let them. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to be undeniable. Respect isn't demanded through volume. It's earned through vibrations. You walk into a room and your aura says, "Don't try me." Your presence becomes a boundary. Your silence becomes a filter. Your self-worth becomes a weapon. When you stop chasing peace through people-pleasing, you discover real peace. The kind that doesn't need permission. You start drawing lines in ink, not pencil. You start cutting ties that were holding your greatness hostage. You stop apologizing for standards that protect your soul. Your life will expand or collapse based on what you allow. No one respects someone who won't respect themselves. No one trusts someone who can't trust their own instincts. No one follows someone who keeps shrinking to keep others comfortable. The people around you right now are your reflection. If they're loud, draining, disrespectful, or indifferent, then somewhere along the way you taught them that was okay. But it's not too late. One decision can erase years of tolerance. One moment of clarity can burn down a decade of self-abandonment. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your heart, or your presence. Those are earned, not given. People rise to the level you require or they exit. You don't negotiate with energy that insults your potential. You protect it like war. You're not responsible for how they feel about your boundaries. You're responsible for setting them anyway. You're not in this world to babysit emotions. You're here to lead. To rise. To teach through example. If you value yourself loudly, eventually the world will listen. But if you whisper your worth, don't be surprised when no one hears you. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack belief. Not the kind of belief you write in a notebook, but the kind that burns behind your eyes and makes the room feel too small for your ambition. The kind that makes other people nervous because they've never seen someone carry themselves like a future legend. When you believe in yourself without doubt, you become a mirror. People see their own fears reflected back at them. That's why they'll call you arrogant. That's why they'll say calm down or be realistic. They're not reacting to you, they're reacting to what they gave up on. Your belief triggers their surrender. This level of belief isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be. It doesn't feel soft, it feels like pressure, fire, destiny pressing against your chest, telling you to move or be crushed. You don't get to play it safe when you're built to break barriers. You don't get to blend in when your DNA screams for greatness. People will question your belief, not because it's wrong, but because they've never dared to believe that hard in anything. Most only believe after the crowd agrees. You believe before the applause, before the proof, before the path is clear. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. True belief is a threat. It's disruptive. It challenges comfort. It's a frequency that weak minds can't process. They'll try to pull you down not because they hate you, but because your self-certainty exposes their self-doubt. And when that happens, stand taller. Belief like this makes you magnetic. It shifts how you walk, how you speak, how you respond. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop waiting for green lights. You move because your vision is real even if no one sees it but you. You will make people uncomfortable. Let them be. You are not here to shrink for their approval. You are here to remind them what power looks like. You don't need a cheering section. You need fire. You need silence. You need the kind of inner roar that shakes your bones and keeps you up at night. When you believe at this level, you no longer fear failure, you expect resistance. You stop seeing problems as stop signs and start seeing them as tests. You welcome setbacks because your belief is immune to circumstance. It doesn't bend for bad news. It doesn't break under pressure. It rises because of it. You become intimidating not because you threaten people, but because your certainty feels unnatural in a world addicted to doubt. Most people second-guess themselves into a lifetime of mediocrity, but not you. You decide, then build the reality around the decision. This belief makes your goals non-negotiable. You don't chase dreams, you hunt them. You don't wait for signs, you become the sign. You don't hope for opportunities, you create them with such force that life has to make space for you. Believing in yourself at this level forces you to outgrow people. It's painful, but necessary. You will lose connections that only loved you when you were unsure. You will outpace those who needed you to stay small. Let them go. They were never meant to walk with your fire. Your belief will make your presence feel like pressure to those who haven't stepped into their own greatness. That's not your burden. You don't dim your light to comfort the blind. You shine until they open their eyes or disappear from your life completely. You become undeniable not by accident, but by conviction. By carrying yourself like the outcome is already written. By working like the universe is catching up to your decision. You don't ask for permission. You move like your blood is made of purpose. Belief at this level rewires your identity. You stop calling it motivation. You call it normal. You stop needing morning routines to feel strong. You wake up already locked in. You stop waiting for signs from the outside because you've already got the blueprint etched into your soul. This belief becomes your armor. You take hits, but never fall apart. You lose battles, but never lose direction. You get doubted, but never doubt yourself. You walk through storms like they were tailor-made to sharpen you. And people will talk. Let them. They'll say, who do you think you are? You answer by becoming exactly what they're proof. Proof that radical belief creates radical results. That it's possible to trust yourself so completely failure has to ask permission to touch you. You are not normal. Stop trying to be. You are not average. Stop pretending you fit in. You are not made for comfort, you are made to conquer. Believing in yourself this much is lonely. Yes, but it's sacred. Because in that space you discover who you really are when no one claps, when no one watches, when it's just you and the fire. Most won't understand you, that's the point. You're not building a consensus, you're building a legacy. And legacies don't wait to be understood. They act, they move. They shake the ground with every step. When you believe this hard, even your enemies start to second-guess themselves. Even your doubters start taking notes. Even your silence becomes heavy, because people can feel the gravity of what you're becoming. You don't need backup. You are the storm. You don't need reassurance. You are the answer. You don't need permission. You are the proofs. Stop asking if it's possible. Start demanding it. Stop wondering if it's too much. Start realizing you've been playing small. Stop measuring your belief by other people's limitations. Your vision is not up for debate. No one can sell you your worth once you've decided it's infinite. No one can talk you out of your future once you've already stepped into it. No one can stop what moves with absolute certainty. The most dangerous person in the world is the one who has decided to believe without evidence, without support, without apology. That person bends the laws of reality. That person creates empires out of nothing. That person becomes inevitable. You are that person. The way you speak tells the world what to believe about you. The tone in your voice is louder than your words. If you speak like you're asking for permission, they'll treat you like you don't belong. But if you speak like you've already claimed the throne, they'll adjust their energy to match yours. Certainty is not volume. Certainty is gravity. It pulls attention without trying. It enters the room before your feet do. It fills the silence like thunder you didn't see coming. And when you carry certainty, people stop looking for reasons, they start looking for instructions. The ones who lead don't always have the best answers, they just deliver their words like they've already lived the future. They don't say maybe. They say this is what's next. They don't apologize for their opinions, they own them like property. Confidence is contagious. When you speak with conviction, people catch your belief like wildfire. They stop questioning your position and start aligning with it. Because deep down, everyone's searching for someone who actually knows where they're going. You walk into every space like it's waiting for you. You sit at tables like your name is carved into the wood. You introduce yourself like you're the opportunity, not the applicant. Your voice doesn't shake, not because you've never been afraid, but because you decided your fear doesn't get a vote. When you act like the room is yours, people assume you built it. That's the secret. You don't wait to be invited. You declare yourself the host. Your presence doesn't ask for room, it rearranges the furniture. Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Speak like time owes you its attention. When you rush, they assume you're unsure. When you stumble, they believe you doubt yourself. But when you speak like every word is law, they treat your sentences like commandments. People follow energy, not ideas. If your energy says, I hope I'm right, they will resist you. But if your energy says, this is how it is, they'll nod before their brain catches up. You're not manipulating. You're mastering the unspoken rules of influence. You don't just speak to be heard, you speak to shift the atmosphere. Your words don't float, they land. Heavy. Sharp. Unforgettable. You speak like you've already lived what others only dream about. Like experience drips off every syllable. Leadership is felt before it's understood. People don't follow credentials, they follow certainty. They follow the one who moves like they've already won. And that's you. Because while others wait to be chosen, you show up like the choice was made the moment you decided to lead. When you walk into a room, you don't shrink, you expand. You don't look around for approval, you become the standard. You don't hesitate, because hesitation is the death of respect. You walk like every step is intention. You move like your shadow outruns fear. If you want to own the room, speak like your name is already echoing in the walls. I don't ask for attention, command it without saying a word. Your body speaks before your mouth opens. Shoulders back. Chin up. Eye contact like a laser, not a question. You don't just enter rooms, you announce your arrival by how you carry your existence. You don't try to fit in, you redefine what standing out looks like. And people feel it. They sense it. They adjust their posture just being around you. Most people apologize for their own presence. You do the opposite. You treat your existence like a gift, not a favor. You don't explain your worth, you demonstrate it. You walk like someone who's already paid the price. And that's why people follow, because your energy says earned, not given. Your tone is not soft. Your tone is not unsure. Your tone says, I've been through fire, and I brought the flames with me. Every word is a fingerprint. Unique. Undeniable. When you speak, people remember how it made them feel, not just what you said. You don't wait your turn. You create the moment. You don't look for a place, you define the space. When you speak, even silence listens. Even doubt takes a step back. Even resistance pauses, because it's met with force that won't back down. This is not arrogance. This is presence. This is not ego. This is command. You've trained for this. You've suffered for this. You've bled for this confidence. And now it lives in your voice. It echoes in your walk. It radiates from your skin. People aren't looking for perfect. They're looking for certain. They don't need you to have all the answers. They need you to believe your direction so deeply that they forget they ever questioned theirs. And you don't flinch when tested. You look pressure in the eyes. You welcome it. Because you know pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. The world sees your power, and now calmly you carry chaos. And how clearly you speak when others choke. Every word you say builds your kingdom. Every sentence is a brick. Every pause is a heartbeat louder than a scream. You don't ramble, you strike. You don't explain, you demonstrate. You don't ask, they listen. When you speak with certainty, doubt dies in the room. Insecurity melts. Opinions fade. All that remains is impact. Because your voice doesn't fill space, it reshapes it. You speak like history is listening. You don't perform, you embody. You don't pitch, you pull. You don't sell yourself, you own yourself so deeply that others want to buy in. That's how leaders are made. Not through status, but through certainty and motion. The room doesn't give you power. You bring it. You don't adapt to the environment, you change it. You don't mirror energy, you set it. And those who can't match your frequency either level up or get left behind. You don't walk in wondering who's in charge. You walk in and become it. You don't ask for the mic, you are the message. You don't hope they listen, you know they will. Because your belief bleeds into every word you release. You don't mumble destiny, you declare it. You don't whisper greatness, you shout it with silence. Because true power doesn't need noise. It just needs presence. And your presence says, this is mine. The second you start looking for validation, you've already handed away your power. Validation is a leash, and the world will pull it tight every time you reach for their approval. The moment you ask, do they like me? You shrink into something smaller than you were born to be. The world does not respect the ones who seek applause. The world respects the one who walks like the applause doesn't matter. You do not need their permission to feel worthy. You don't need their acceptance to become powerful. But you don't need their compliments to confirm your path. Every time you wait for someone to approve your greatness, you delay your own evolution. You weren't made to be liked, you were made to be respected. Liking is emotional. Respect is earned. And the way you carry yourself determines which one you attract. The one who commands respect walks differently, speaks differently. Moves like time itself, bends when they show up. Their presence doesn't ask, it tells. It tells you who they are without uttering a single word. People can feel when you don't need them. That's when they lean in. That's when they listen harder. That's when they start wondering who you are. But when you need their validation, they instinctively pull away because desperation smells like weakness. You carry yourself like you are the gravity in the room. Like your name doesn't need to be spoken because your energy introduced you first. Like your value is carved in stone, not scribbled in sand. They don't need to understand you. They don't even need to like you. But they will respect you. Not because you begged for it, but because you moved like their opinion was irrelevant. Because you stood tall even when no one clapped. Respect is built in silence. It's built in how you show up when nobody's watching. It's in the way you hold your head high when others try to break you. It's in the way you keep your standards while the world sells theirs for cheap attention. Stop asking if you're good enough. Start walking like you already are. Confidence isn't arrogance. Confidence is knowing who you are even when the world forgets. It's walking into every space with the posture of someone who's already done the work, already paid the price, already fought the war inside. You command respect by being unshakable. Not by being loud. Not by being flashy. But by standing so firm in your identity that no trend, no opinion, no rejection can touch you. When you know yourself that deeply, people feel it before you even speak. Validation is for amateurs. Respect is for kings. Respect is for queens. Respect is for warriors who bled behind the curtain so they can stand in the spotlight without flinching. You don't chase it, you become it. Every time you act out of insecurity, you lose a piece of your presence. But every time you move with purpose, with alignment, with certainty, you gain power that no one can take from you. Not even the ones who once doubted you. You don't post for likes, you speak for legacy. You don't dress for approval. You present yourself like a monument built to last, made to be remembered, not just seen. You are not decoration. You are definition. You don't look for validation in eyes that can't see your vision. You don't shrink your voice for ears that weren't designed to hear greatness. You don't slow your pace for feet that were never meant to walk your road. Commanding respect doesn't mean being aggressive. It means being unapologetically aligned with who you are. It means knowing your value so deeply that compromise feels like betrayal. It means saying no without guilt. It means walking away without fear. You don't try to be relatable. You try to be undeniable. You don't need to fit their mold when you were born to shatter it. You don't soften your edges for people who fear sharp minds. You don't explain your fire to those still scared of heat. They will talk. Let them. They will doubt. Expect it. But you will keep moving like destiny is your witness. You will hold your frame like your card from conviction. You will become the one they point to when they talk about what real power looks like. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to own every space your feet touch. You were meant to change the temperature of every room you enter. You were meant to carry a presence so heavy silence makes room for your voice. When you stop needing validation, you become unstoppable, because no praise can inflate you, and no insult can deflate you. You're grounded in something deeper, something unshakable, something that doesn't fade when the crowd leaves. He'll test you. He'll push you. He'll try to trigger your doubt. But your posture says, try me. Your presence says, I'm not here to be accepted. I'm here to be respected. And when they feel that, they'll treat you different. Respect is felt, not given. It's built in your stillness, in your calm, in your fire that doesn't flicker under pressure. It's in your refusal to beg. It's in your silence when others would scream for attention. It's in your still eyes that see through the noise. You do not dance for their claps. You do not bend for their comfort. You walk in a straight line even when the world curves around lies. And that's why they remember you. That's why they watch. That's why they adjust their tone when they speak to you. They feel something when you arrive. They speak differently. They sit straighter. They second-guess themselves, not because you demand it, but because your presence requires it. You radiate strength without saying a word. The room shifts when you stop performing. The game changes when you stop chasing. The world notices when you stop needing to be noticed. And in that moment, respect becomes the only language they speak when your name is mentioned. You carry yourself like royalty, not because of ego, but because you know you build something inside that no one can take. And when they see that, when they feel that, they treat you different. Not as a favorite, but as a force. The strongest voices are often silent. The ones you remember the longest didn't need to speak to shake the room. Power doesn't always announce itself. It arrives and everything else adjusts. You don't always need words when your presence alone alters the atmosphere like a storm moving in slow motion. The world has been trained to chase noise, but the ones who truly dominate don't compete with volume. They compete with gravity. And when your presence has weight, you don't need to raise your voice, you raise the room. People feel it in their skin before you say a word. Your aura should speak before you do. Your energy should introduce you with authority. Your stillness should create more tension than their loudest outburst. That's the difference between attention and influence. You don't just enter a space, you change the temperature. When you say nothing and they still feel you, that's power. When your silence commands more respect than their performance, you've crossed into a level of presence that few ever reach. That's not luck. That's not charisma. That's control. That's earned. The real ones don't need to prove anything. They walk in truth so deeply rooted that the world bends around them. They look into a room and the room gets quiet. Not from fear, but from recognition. A presence like that can't be taught. It's chosen. Stillness is louder than noise when it's backed by self-mastery. When you don't react to chaos, you become the anchor. When you move slowly, deliberately, like time waits for you to decide, people start seeing you as someone who sees further, who knows more, who's already won battles they're still afraid to fight. You don't need to fill the air to make them listen. You don't need to chase eyes to be seen. When your presence is dialed in, you pull attention like gravity pulls planets. It's not force, it's law. It's not demand, it's inevitability. Silence becomes a weapon in the hands of someone who knows who they are. You don't rush to speak. You don't compete for attention. You let the energy speak for you. You carry yourself like you've already heard every lie, every insult, every doubt, and none of it moved you. The loudest person in the room isn't the most confident. They're usually the most insecure. But the one sitting quietly, composed, eyes locked in like a laser, completely unfazed, that's the one people remember. That's the one who can't be read, can't be moved, can't be underestimated twice. Presence is posture. It's the way you hold yourself when no one's watching. It's in the eyes that don't dart around. It's in the breath that doesn't shake. It's in the pause between movements. It's in the stillness that dares the world to try and shake your frame. You become unforgettable not by shouting, but by embodying. You don't need to announce your strength when it's in every step you take. You don't need to argue your value when it radiates without effort. When your presence is felt, even your absence echoes. They'll wonder why they're watching you, why their energy shifts when you walk by, why their insecurities rise when you enter the frame. It's because you're not performing your being. And authenticity in a world full of masks is the most dominant frequency alive. Every room you walk into becomes a mirror. They don't just see you, they see themselves in your reflection. Your stillness makes them question their noise. Your discipline exposes their chaos. Your peace reminds them of their panic. And that's why your presence can't be ignored. You've built your energy in fire, in quiet sacrifice, in battles that never made it to the surface. And now that energy travels with you. It enters rooms before you do. It silences doubters without confrontation. It earns respect without explanation. You don't rush to fill silence because you're not afraid of it. You're not uncomfortable with stillness because you've lived in it. You've grown in it. While others fear being unseen, you've learned how to become unforgettable without saying a word. You don't need to force connection. Your presence speaks to people's instincts. It bypasses logic. It bypasses resistance. It speaks to something deeper, something primal. Something that tells them you're in the presence of something rare. Even when you say nothing, people remember how they felt when you were there. They remember the intensity, the calm, the pressure, the balance of peace and power. And long after the words are forgotten, your presence lingers like smoke from a fire they couldn't touch. Leadership isn't about speeches. It's about influence. It's about walking in truth so strong, others straighten up when you're near. Not because you demand it, but because your energy makes them confront who they are and who they're not. Stillness is undefeated when it comes from certainty. When you move without needing attention, you gain it. When you listen more than you speak, people lean in closer when you finally open your mouth. When your silence is intentional, it becomes magnetic. People follow strength, not noise. They follow stability, not spectacle. They follow the ones who don't flinch, who don't beg, who don't dilute their energy to be accepted. And when your presence says, "I belong here," people stop questioning it. Your stillness speaks volumes. It speaks of battles won in silence. It speaks of discipline no one clapped for. It speaks of restraint, control, and power that doesn't need to flash to be real. That's the presence that leads without effort, dominates without noise, and inspires without trying. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. You are not here to convince. You are here to command. You are not here to entertain. You are here to embody what most can only imagine. And that presence, it speaks louder than any voice ever could.